Hi, I'm Maya from Bookworm Dreams and welcome to a new video. Today I'm doing the end of the year book tag. So it's been going around, so I felt a bit of FOMO and decided to do it. I will try to find the originator of this tag and put their link in the description box, so please do check that out. So let's just get to the questions. Question number 1 is, are there any books you started this year and you need to finish? And I finished one recently, which is good. The only one I have left is this one. This is Full Throttle by Joe Hill. This is a collection of short stories, horror short stories. And, you know, I'm halfway through. This was my vacation read in August, and I read it for that 1 week while I was at the beach, and then none after that. So hopefully getting to this soon and finishing it. Also, I do have a couple of books that I've been putting on my TBR but haven't getting to. One of them is, of course, Dead Men in a Ditch by Luke Arnold. This is book 2 in the... It's not called Sonder City. Basically, it's the sequel to Last Mile in Sonder City. This is an urban fantasy series in which we follow Fetch Phillips, who basically sort of works as a PI for supernatural creatures in Sonder City. Because he's somehow responsible for the disappearance of magic and that affecting the various supernatural creatures in his town. So he's trying to do his best to make up for that. And he's also really, really had a bad, rough life, and, you know, stuff happens to him. I read the first book. I think it's been 2 years now, and I loved it. And I still haven't gotten to the sequel, so hopefully this will happen soon. And another book I keep putting on my TBR and never reading is this thing. This is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 4, I think, in the Court of Thorns and Roses, I think, series. This is basically a book in which we start following a different couple than in the previous one, but all the characters that we know and love in this series are in this humongous thing, and I don't know, I just haven't been. I know if I start it, I will finish it quickly and I will enjoy it and have fun, because that's usually what happens with when I read Sarah J. Maas books. But this just hasn't happened, so hopefully it will happen soon. The second question is, do you have an autumnal book you read to transition to the end of the year? And not really. I don't really classify my reading into like seasonal. You know, I know, I get it that, you know, if you read like a Christmas romance during Christmas time, it's like a better experience and whatnot, but I like to be vague about the books that I read, not really know much about them, so I'm like pleasantly surprised or not pleasantly surprised. You know, it doesn't really work all that well sometimes. But yeah, I don't really, you know, I haven't found myself reading like what do people read in September, like thrillers and stuff, and horrors in October. I read some horrors, but they weren't that scary. But, you know, not really an autumnal book to prepare me for the end of the year. Not really. Question 3. Is there a new release you are still waiting for? And yes, there is. Evelina Maxwell, right? Yes. Her book Ocean's Echo is coming out in November. I have to think of how to say November. In November, and it's basically set in the same universe as Winter's Orbit, her debut novel, which is awesome. But we follow different characters. I think one of them can read minds, and the other one has the ability to control people with his mind, something like that. And the one that can read minds is basically forcefully conscripted into the army and given to, you know, the other guy has to like look after him and whatnot, make him do stuff that he's not into or whatever he's not approving of. And so the two of them have to somehow fake some kind of connection between the two. I have no idea. I know it's going to be awesome when I read it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Question 4. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Okay, so I do have 3. So if you remember the goals video Christina and I made at the beginning of the year, there was a goal of us reading the Bone Legacy. What was it? Anyway, this whole series starting with Jade City by Fonda Lee, and that has not happened at all because, you know, apparently when you have a baby, every plan you've ever made just poof. So I want to try to read at least this one before the year ends. So that's one of the books. I recently got Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. So I want to read that one till the end of the year because I do enjoy his writing, even though he is problematic. But his books are usually fun for me, and I want to try and get and read this behemoth. But, you know, I'm hoping like there's lots of illustrations. I mean, there's not, but, you know, there's some, so that might help. But yeah, I want to read that one. And I want to continue on with my reading of Joe Abercrombie books. So I read the first trilogy in the first law, and now I have this the first collection. No, it's like a standalone novel, I think. Best Served Cold, I believe, is the next one in the series, and I just have to get to it at some point. I just you know, I've been putting it sometimes on my TBR and just ignoring it. But yeah, I want to read that one too. Question 5. Is there a book that you think can still shock you and become the best book or favorite book of the year? I don't think I currently have a favorite book of the year. At least I didn't really go through my read books and just sort of did the, what do you call that, March Madness thing to figure out what the best book I've read this year was. I know what the most entertaining one was, but you know, I have to think about what the best one would be. But you know, of course, there's always room for, you know, a book to come and shock you. But we'll see what happens, because I'm not currently sure what my favorite book of the year is. So, you know, we'll see. Question number 6. Have you already started making reading plans for the next year? Tentative ones. I know there are some things I have to read because I am participating in the Kristinelli Awards. I will leave the link to Kristen's video down below where she explains everything. Basically, it's like her version of the Hugo Awards, and so I'm gonna have to be reading some new releases for that. I want to reread the Locked Tomb series, starting with Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Basically, I thought this was a trilogy, so it was like, oh look, Nona the Ninth came out. You have Gideon the Ninth, you have Harold the 10th, I think, and then Nona the Ninth, I believe. Basically, and I thought it was done, and then I found out that there was a 4th one coming out. So I want to reread this one and then read the 2nd and the 3rd one in the series because first of all, the covers are amazing. The marketing is not truthful to what is happening in the book, so that I think was one of the problems that I had with this story, because after reading it for the first time I wasn't really sure. I don't think I even rated it on Goodreads because I was confused and just like unsure what the hell was happening in the book, and I found the sort of this relationship that is so loaded in the marketing to be absolutely toxic and horrible and not something you know, that I like reading and, you know, supporting in any way. So I'll reread it and see how far I'll get in the series. So that's one of the plans that I have. And maybe actually at some point start the Wheel of Time series. I've been talking about it for the last 2 years and it hasn't happened yet. I mean, the show has come and gone. It's been filmed, edited and put on TV, and then, you know, everybody's watched it. And I still haven't reread the first book or even started the series. So yeah, that's sort of maybe in the plans. There's of course a million fantasy authors that I want to start reading from, and yeah, it's all tentative, and I just have to at some point sit down, write it down, and make some kind of a plan. So yeah, that's the end of the year book tag. So do I tag people? Whoever wants to do this tag, feel free to just let me know you've done it so I can go and check it out and see your answers. There are some links in the description box for you to check out. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Like this video, please. If you liked it. You don't have to if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!